God's chosen ones, your kindness is about to pay off, big time. You unknowingly saved a billionaire. Are you tired of being the person everyone takes from but nobody gives back to? Have you ever wondered if your relentless kindness in this cold, brutal world actually matters, or if you're just a fool being played by people who see your heart as weakness? What if I told you that the very moment you're questioning whether goodness pays off, heaven has been orchestrating the most shocking reversal of your entire life? Stop. Breathe. Look around you right now. This isn't coincidence. This is divine intervention. You didn't stumble across this message while scrolling through endless noise. You were summoned here, called by name. Because there's something you did, something so pure, so selfless, that it shattered the cynicism of someone who could change your life forever. You may have forgotten it, written it off as just another day of being you. But heaven hasn't forgotten. And someone with billion-dollar power didn't either. Listen carefully. This isn't just a sermon. This is a letter from heaven, sealed with your name. Right now, as you're reading these words, your spirit knows something is shifting. That tightness in your chest, that's not anxiety, that's recognition. Your soul remembering a promise God whispered over you before you took your first breath. You've been walking through a wilderness of disappointment, watching cruel people prosper while your kindness gets trampled. But chosen one, what if that wilderness was never punishment? What if it was preparation? The billionaire you unknowingly saved, they've been searching for someone like you, not someone polished or connected, someone real, someone whose heart hasn't been corrupted by this world's poison. And when they found you, hidden in plain sight, living out love without an audience, they made a decision that's about to flip your entire reality upside down. If your spirit is already stirring, drop a 777 in the comments right now. Let heaven know you're ready, you're listening. That number isn't random, it's divine completion, the signal that what's been delayed is now being released. Before we dive deeper into how that one forgotten act of kindness is about to unlock supernatural compensation, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're sowing seeds into a ministry that reaches souls drowning in darkness. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and consider partnering with this mission to reach more chosen ones like you. Here's what's about to happen. The very people who called your kindness naive are about to watch heaven vindicate every seed of love you planted in secret. Your reward won't whisper, it will thunder. Stay with me. What comes next will explain everything. Have you ever wondered why you keep giving when everyone else keeps taking? Why you show kindness to strangers who will never remember your name? Why your heart compels you to help even when you're barely holding it together yourself? What if I told you that every single act of love you thought went unnoticed was actually being recorded in heaven's ledger? What if the moment you think you're most invisible is precisely when you're most seen? Listen carefully. Chosen one, you were being watched when no one was watching. You know that feeling, don't you? Standing in the checkout line, letting the elderly woman ahead of you go first even though you're running late. Helping a stranger with their groceries in the pouring rain while your own car gets soaked. Smiling at someone who looks broken, even when your own heart is shattered into 1,000 pieces. The world taught you that kindness without witnesses is wasted kindness. That generosity without recognition is foolishness. But dear friend, the world lied to you. Every moment of invisible compassion was a divine examination. Think about Ruth in the Bible. She thought she was just gleaning grain in a field, trying to survive another day, caring for her grieving mother-in-law. Just another forgotten widow doing whatever it took to make it through. But Boaz was watching, not watching to judge, but watching to recognize. He saw her character when she thought no one cared. He witnessed her loyalty when she believed she was alone. And when he finally spoke, his words changed everything. I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law. You have come to take refuge under the wings of the Lord, the God of Israel. Ruth 2:11-12. Ruth thought she was invisible. She was actually being positioned. But let's get real about the pain you're carrying right now. You've given when you had little. You've forgiven when it hurt so deep you could barely breathe. You've been kind when this cruel world mocked you for it. Called you weak, naive, a pushover. You've watched liars get promoted while you got passed over. You've seen manipulators rewarded while your integrity was ignored. You've helped people who never said thank you, loved people who never loved you back, and sacrificed for those who took your kindness for granted. And somewhere in the darkness of disappointment, you've whispered the question that breaks heaven's heart. Does it even matter anymore? Oh, chosen one, it matters more than you know. Hebrews 13:2 warns us, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing some people have entertained angels without knowing it." But here's what most people miss: it's not just about angels. It's about divine appointments disguised as ordinary moments. That stranger you helped last month, that person you showed patience to when everyone else was rude, that soul you encouraged when they were ready to give up, you thought it was just another Tuesday. Heaven called it a test, and someone powerful was taking notes. While you were being yourself authentically, consistently, beautifully yourself, eyes that matter were watching. Not government surveillance or social media algorithms, but something far more significant. Divine witnesses and earthly influencers were observing your every move. You see, people with real power don't announce themselves with fanfare. They move quietly, dressed in ordinary clothes, testing the character of those around them. They've learned that true worth isn't revealed in boardrooms or staged conversations. It's revealed in unguarded moments when people think no one important is watching. That moment you smiled at a stranger in the grocery store. You were being tested by heaven and seen by power. That day you stopped to help someone change their tire on the highway, getting your clothes dirty, making yourself late. Divine forces were aligning. That evening you sat with a lonely neighbor, listening to their pain when you had your own burdens to carry. Invisible hands were writing your name in books you can't see. You've been living in a spiritual reality show where the only audience that matters has been cheering you on in silence. Every choice to love instead of hate, to help instead of hurt, to give instead of grab, it's all been recorded. Not for judgment, but for reward. The billionaire you unknowingly encountered, they weren't there by accident. They were sent, not by a company or committee, but by the same divine intelligence that positioned Ruth in Boaz's field, that placed Esther in the palace for such a time as this. They've been searching for someone like you, someone real, someone whose kindness isn't performance. If you've ever felt invisible, type "I see you, God" in the comments right now, because He does see you. He's been watching your faithfulness in the small things, preparing you for something bigger than you've dared to dream. But here's where the story takes a turn that will shake you to your core. That test you passed without knowing you were taking it, the grade just came back. And the compensation for your perfect score is about to arrive in ways that will leave you speechless. What happens when someone who has everything meets someone who gives everything? Chosen one, let me ask you something that's going to shake you to your core. What if the person you helped last Tuesday, the one you thought was just another stranger, what if they've been carrying your name in their phone for 3 weeks, debating whether to call you? What if that simple act of kindness you've already forgotten is the reason someone with a 9-figure net worth can't sleep at night? Here's what nobody tells you about divine appointments. Heaven wrapped a billionaire in a hoodie and sent them down your path. You see, while everyone else was busy performing for Instagram cameras and networking their way up corporate ladders, you did something so rare in today's world that it stopped a billionaire dead in their tracks. You were real. You helped without calculating. You gave without expecting. And in a world where everything comes with a price tag, your authenticity was priceless. But here's where this gets shocking. That person you opened the door for, they just signed a deal worth $300 million. The stranger you helped carry groceries, they control investment funds that could transform entire communities. The elderly person you patiently listened to while everyone else rushed by, They've been searching for decades for someone with a soul pure enough to trust with their legacy. And you had no idea. Listen to me carefully, because this is going to hit different. While others flexed and chased cameras, you earned divine interest in heaven's vault. The Bible declares in Psalm 34:5, "Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame." That radiance you carry, that unexplainable light that draws children to you, that makes animals calm down in your presence, that's what they noticed. Not your clothes, not your car, not your job title, your spirit. And here's the part that's going to wreck you. They've been testing people for years, dropping disguises, walking among crowds, watching, waiting, praying to find someone, just one person who still operates from love instead of leverage. Someone who doesn't change their personality based on who's watching. Think about Keanu Reeves. You know his story, right? The man's worth $380 million, but you'll find him on the subway, giving up his seat, helping strangers, living like a regular person. Why? Because when you have real power, you don't need to announce it. You test character in silence. Jim Carrey once said the depression he battled taught him that even at the height of fame, the soul can feel empty. What if someone like that crossed your path during their darkest moment, and your simple kindness became their lifeline back to faith? Here's the question that should terrify and thrill you. What if they've been looking for a soul they could trust with legacy? What if your name is already written in their will? What if that random Tuesday just rewrote your entire bloodline? But chosen one, I need you to understand something deeper. This isn't about luck. This isn't about being in the right place at the right time. This is about divine positioning. God has been orchestrating this encounter since before you took your first breath. He's been preparing you through every trial, every heartbreak, every moment when you chose kindness over cruelty. Proverbs 11:25 promises, "Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." But what if I told you that refreshed in the original Hebrew doesn't just mean blessed, means flooded. It means overwhelmed with provision. It means heaven opening windows you didn't even know existed. The person you helped hasn't forgotten because they can't forget. Your energy disrupted their entire worldview. In a single moment, you proved that goodness still walks among us, that not everyone has been corrupted by greed, that somewhere in this broken world, souls still exist who give without getting. And now they're haunted, not by guilt, but by gratitude, not by obligation, but by recognition. They finally found what they've been searching for, someone whose heart hasn't been auctioned off to the highest bidder. But here's what's about to blow your mind. While you've been wondering if kindness even matters in today's cruel world, they've been having sleepless nights, wrestling with a question that's consuming them. How do I repay someone who wanted nothing from me? The answer is coming, chosen one. And it's not going to whisper into your life, it's going to thunder. They didn't just encounter your kindness, they encountered your character. And character, dear one, is the currency of the kingdom. It's what opens doors that money can't buy, creates connections that networking can't manufacture, and builds legacies that outlive bank accounts. So now I have to ask you, are you ready for what happens when someone with unlimited resources decides to invest in unlimited kindness? Are you prepared for the moment when your hidden faithfulness becomes public favor? Because what's coming next isn't just a blessing, it's a vindication. Heaven is about to prove that every seed of love you planted in secret is about to produce a harvest so massive, even your enemies will be forced to acknowledge the hand of God on your life. But the question remains, what did you do that was so powerful? It captured the attention of both heaven and a billionaire. That answer is going to change everything you thought you knew about the power of authentic love. Chosen one, let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many times have you watched a liar get promoted while your honesty kept you invisible? How many nights have you laid awake wondering if being good in this world makes you a fool? You've seen it, haven't you? The backstabbers climbing corporate ladders, the manipulators getting the recognition, the cold-hearted collecting the rewards while you with your soft heart and open hands got passed over, overlooked, forgotten. And somewhere along the way, you started to believe the lie. You started thinking maybe they were right, maybe kindness was weakness, Maybe your gentle spirit was a disadvantage in a world that rewards the ruthless. You watched cruelty get celebrated, dishonesty get applauded, and selfishness get crowned. And you began to wonder, what's wrong with me? But here's what you didn't know. Here's what the enemy never wanted you to discover. You weren't failing a worldly test. You were passing a heavenly one. Every time they mocked your compassion, heaven took note. Every moment you chose mercy when revenge would have felt better, angels leaned in closer. Every day you stayed soft when the world demanded you become hard, you were earning currency in a realm they can't even see. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. Not the aggressive, not the manipulative, not the ones who stepped on others to reach the top. The meek, the gentle, the kind, you. Think about this. While they were building kingdoms on sand, you were building character on the rock. While they were collecting temporary applause, you were storing up eternal treasure. While they were winning battles, you were positioning yourself to win the war. But here's where it gets shocking. That billionaire, the one whose life you touched with a simple act of kindness, they weren't just observing your character, they were studying it. Because people with real power, lasting power, God-given power, they know something the pretenders don't. Integrity is the rarest commodity on earth. You see, anyone can fake success for a season. Anyone can manipulate their way to the middle. But genuine goodness, a heart that gives without calculating the return, a spirit that remains pure in a polluted world, that's what legends are made of. And now heaven is flipping the script. Remember when Joseph's brothers threw him in a pit, thinking they destroyed his future? Remember how they laughed at his dreams, called him a fool for believing God had something special planned? But Genesis 50:20 tells us the ending. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Your pit season is over, chosen one. Those people who called you naive, they're about to watch you walk into rooms they can't even dream of entering. Those voices that said your softness would never pay off, they're about to be silenced by the sound of doors opening that only your character could unlock. Because here's what they never understood. True power doesn't come from taking. It comes from giving. That billionaire you helped, they've been surrounded by takers their entire life. People who saw dollar signs instead of a human soul. People who calculated every conversation, strategized every smile, measured every moment for personal gain. But then you showed up. No agenda, no angle, no ask. Just authentic, uncalculated kindness. And in that moment, you didn't just help someone cross the street or carry their groceries. You reminded them that goodness still breathes in this world. You proved that not everyone has a price tag. You became living evidence that purity isn't extinct. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Your light didn't just shine, it blazed. And now, someone with the power to change your life forever can't stop thinking about that moment. Can't shake the memory of what real looks like. Can't forget the person who gave without wanting, helped without expecting, served without scorekeeping. And they're coming back. Not because you chased them, not because you pitched them, not because you played their game, because you reminded them there's a better game entirely. The compensation that's heading your way isn't just about money, though there will be plenty of that. It's about vindication. It's about heaven proving to everyone who mocked your methods that kindness is the ultimate strategy, that love is the highest intelligence, that serving others is the fastest path to being crowned yourself. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Mark 10:43. You've been serving. Now comes the greatness. You've been sowing in tears. Now comes the harvest of joy. You've been faithful in little. Now comes the ruling over much. The very thing they mocked is about to become your crown. Your gentleness, that's what opened the door. Your authenticity, that's what sealed the deal. Your refusal to harden your heart in a hardened world, that's what made you unforgettable. If you've ever cried in secret and kept serving anyway, if you've ever been called too soft and stayed tender, regardless if you've ever wondered if kindness pays off in a cruel world type, this was me. In the comments right now, because your reward is no longer delayed. Your coronation has begun. Dear chosen one, let me ask you something that's going to shake you to your core. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like something was wrong before anyone said a word? Have you ever had your stomach drop about someone you just met, only to discover weeks later they betrayed everyone around them? Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with someone's name on your heart, called them, and found out they were in crisis? You're not crazy. You're early. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will explain every moment you felt like an outsider. Every time people called you too sensitive, and every instance you questioned if something was wrong with you. There isn't. You weren't made to blend, you were made to shine in the dark. And that sensitivity they mocked, it's actually your spiritual radar, fine-tuned by the Holy Spirit himself. The Bible declares in 1 Corinthians 2:15, the person with the Spirit makes judgments about all things. That's you. You operate on a frequency most people can't even detect. While they're scrolling through surface-level existence, you're picking up signals from heaven itself. But here's what nobody tells you about this gift: it's lonely as hell. You feel everything. The sadness behind someone's smile, the desperation masked by their success, the emptiness echoing in crowded rooms. You sense betrayal before it happens. You feel storms coming before clouds form. And you've probably spent years wondering if you're losing your mind, haven't you? You're not. You're chosen. Think about Elisha in 2 Kings 6. This prophet was so connected to divine frequency that he could hear the enemy king's conversations from miles away. The Syrian king thought he had a spy in his own camp because Elisha kept revealing their secret battle plans to Israel. But it wasn't espionage, it was spiritual intelligence. The same intelligence flowing through you right now. That chill you get around certain people, that's your spirit detecting what your eyes can't see. That knot in your stomach when everything looks perfect on paper, that's heaven warning you about hidden toxicity. That sudden urge to pray for someone you haven't talked to in years, that's God using you as his emergency response system. But let's get real about the cost. How many times have people dismissed your warnings because you couldn't prove them yet? How often have you been labeled paranoid or dramatic when you were actually being prophetic? How many relationships have you lost because your discernment threatened their deception? Here's the shocking truth they don't want you to know. Your sensitivity isn't a disorder, it's a divine assignment. While others stumble through life making decisions based on appearances, you're getting classified intelligence from the throne room of God. While they're being blindsided by betrayals, you saw it coming a mile away. While they're wondering why their relationships keep falling apart, you understand that some connections are spiritually toxic. You've been walking through this world carrying a gift so rare that most people spend their entire lives never encountering someone like you. And instead of celebrating it, you've been apologizing for it. Stop. That billionaire you unknowingly helped, they recognize something in you that money can't buy. They felt your energy before you even spoke. Your presence shifted their atmosphere, and they couldn't explain why, but they knew they needed what you carried. You see, chosen one, people with real power aren't just successful, they're spiritually aware. They understand that intuition, discernment, and prophetic sensitivity are the rarest commodities on earth. And when they encounter someone operating in genuine spiritual gifts, they take notice. You're not broken, you're marked. If your body has ever warned you before your brain caught up, drop "I feel before I see" in the comments right now, because that's not anxiety, that's anointing. That's your spirit picking up frequencies that logic hasn't processed yet. Every sleepless night when you felt someone's pain, every time you avoided a situation that later exploded, every moment you spoke life into someone who was dying inside, those weren't accidents. Those were assignments. The world calls it being too much. Heaven calls it being exactly enough. But here's where it gets dangerous. You've been hiding your light under a bushel, haven't you? Dimming your sensitivity because it makes others uncomfortable, apologizing for seeing what they can't, pretending you don't feel what you feel because they called you crazy. But what if that very gift they tried to silence is exactly what's about to open doors they can't even see? That billionaire didn't just encounter your kindness, they encountered your frequency. And they've been searching their entire life for someone who operates on that level. Someone who doesn't need explanation, who doesn't require proof, who simply knows. And now, they can't stop thinking about you. Because while everyone else was performing for their attention, you were simply being. While others were calculating their next move, you were moving in the spirit. While they were trying to impress with words, your presence spoke volumes. The question now becomes, are you ready to stop apologizing for who God made you to be? Chosen one, while you've been questioning whether that moment even mattered, someone powerful has been replaying it in their mind like a sacred film they can't stop watching. You think you're forgettable? You think your kindness dissolves into the noise of this world? Listen to me carefully. While you were holding their soul together with a smile, they were quietly writing your name in their heart, not in ink and something deeper. In gratitude so profound, it rewrote their understanding of what human beings can be. They Googled your kindness after you walked away. Not your name, they didn't even know it. But they searched for proof that people like you still exist. They typed phrases like genuine kindness still real, and why do some people give without taking, because what you did shattered their worldview so completely. They needed evidence they weren't hallucinating hope. Here's what you don't understand about the wealthy and powerful. They live in a prison of transaction. Every smile comes with a price tag. Every favor hides an agenda. Every friend is calculating what they can extract. But you showed up with no invoice, no hidden contract, no strategic positioning. You gave them something they'd forgotten existed, pure human decency. And it haunted them. Do you know what Ecclesiastes 3:1 says? To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. That moment when your paths crossed wasn't random timing, it was divine appointment. You were the right person in the right place, carrying the right spirit, at the exact second someone's faith in humanity was flatlined. You were their spiritual defibrillator. But here's where it gets deeper, chosen one. Here's where the mystery thickens into miracle. They didn't just remember your face, they remembered your frequency, that unexplainable peace that radiated from you, that absence of desperation, that shocking reality of someone who didn't want anything from them except to see them whole. When was the last time someone looked at you and saw a person, not a possibility? That's what you gave them. And for someone whose entire existence revolves around being seen as a resource, as a connection, as an opportunity, your simple humanity felt like encountering an angel in street clothes. They've been carrying you in their thoughts like a sacred secret. In boardroom meetings, your kindness interrupts their concentration. During sleepless nights, your words echo louder than their worries. You became their proof that God still plants miracles in ordinary moments. But here's the part that will blow your mind. They've been quietly investigating you. Not in a creepy way, in a respectful way. They want to understand how someone moves through this brutal world without becoming brutal themselves. They want to know what shaped you, what sustains you, what keeps your heart soft when everything around you hardens souls into stone. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. Proverbs 16:9. Your steps that day weren't random. Their presence wasn't coincidence. Heaven orchestrated a collision between someone who had everything but felt empty and someone who had little but carried everything that matters. And now they can't let it go. Imagine your phone ringing tomorrow, a number you don't recognize, a voice that sounds hesitant but determined, and they begin with words that will stop your heart. You may not remember me, but I remember you. What follows that call will be an invitation into a reality you never dared dream, not because you asked for it, but because your spirit demanded it. Your kindness opened a door in someone's soul that had been locked for decades. You weren't a stranger to them. You were the miracle they forgot how to pray for. Think about this. How many times have you wondered if your goodness goes unnoticed? How many nights have you questioned whether being kind in a cruel world makes you a fool or a saint? How many moments have you felt invisible, overlooked, taken for granted? Every single one of those doubts is about to be obliterated. Because the same person you helped without knowing their power, they now carry your memory like a treasure they're desperate to honor. Your kindness became their compass back to believing in the beauty of human nature. Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Ecclesiastes 11:1. Chosen one, your bread is about to return as a feast, not just provision vindication, not just blessing breakthrough, not just reward recognition from someone whose influence reaches places your imagination can't map. They're not just thinking about you, they're planning for you, creating space for you, opening doors that have your name engraved in heaven's ledger. The question is no longer whether your kindness mattered. The question is, are you ready for what happens when kindness collides with power and creates a miracle that will echo through generations? Because that collision is already in motion. That phone call is already being dialed. That door is already swinging open. And everything you thought you knew about how God rewards the faithful is about to be rewritten in front of your eyes. Chosen one, let me ask you something that's going to shake you to your core. When was the last time someone with real power met someone who wanted absolutely nothing from them? Think about it. In a world where every handshake comes with a hidden agenda, every smile masks a request, every conversation leads to an ask, when does someone truly powerful encounter a soul that expects nothing? That's exactly what happened to you, and that's exactly why everything is about to change. You see, while everyone else was positioning themselves like chess pieces on a board, calculating their next move, measuring their words for maximum impact, you did something revolutionary. You showed up as yourself, unfiltered, unscripted, uncompromising, and in that moment of pure authenticity, you didn't just help someone, you disrupted someone. Pause for a moment. Feel that stirring in your chest? That's your spirit recognizing a truth your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Here's what the world doesn't understand about true wealth. It's not attracted to desperation. It's not impressed by performance. Real wealth is magnetically drawn to one thing: integrity without agenda. And chosen one, that's exactly what you carried into that encounter. Think about Matthew 5-9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. You brought peace, not chaos. You offered presence, not pressure. In a room full of people reaching, grabbing, demanding, you simply were. And that silence, that spiritual stillness, it echoed in eternity. Your quietness didn't go unnoticed. It went recorded. But here's where it gets controversial. Why do you think the wealthy hide among us? Why do billionaires walk through Walmart in hoodies? Why do they sit in coffee shops, unrecognized, watching? Because they're hunting. Not for opportunities, they have those. Not for connections, they own those. They're hunting for something money can't manufacture: a clean heart. And you, dear chosen one, you passed a test you didn't even know you were taking. Let me shock you with something most people will never understand. Every person with true power has been betrayed by someone close to them. Every billionaire has been used, manipulated, sweet-talked into giving what they shouldn't have given. They've learned to spot the gold diggers from 3 blocks away. They can smell a setup through expensive cologne. But you confused their radar entirely. You didn't ask for their number. You didn't hint at your struggles. You didn't drop casual mentions of your dreams. You just helped and walked away. Do you realize how rare that is? In a world where every good deed comes with a social media post, every kindness expects a reward you gave from a place so pure, it left them speechless. Your silence echoed in eternity. Your stillness shook a billionaire. You don't wear wealth, you wear worth. Proverbs 28:6 declares, "Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one perverse in his ways, though he be rich." But what happens when someone rich recognizes that integrity? What happens when wealth meets worth and finds itself wanting to honor what it cannot buy? Here's what they've been talking about in rooms you've never entered: your energy, your authenticity, the way you moved through that moment without needing anything from it. They've described you to their inner circle. They've tried to explain what they felt when they met you, and every time they tell the story, they end with the same question: how do I find them again? But here's the plot twist that's going to blow your mind. They're not trying to find you to take more from you. They're trying to find you to give to you. Because for the first time in years, maybe decades, they encountered someone who reminded them why they wanted to be generous in the first place. Think about this shocking reality. How many people in their life have ever made them feel safe? How many interactions have they had where they didn't have to guard their words, measure their responses, or wonder about hidden motives? You gave them something worth more than their net worth. You gave them humanity. And now they can't forget it. They can't shake it. Your kindness didn't just help them, it haunted them in the best possible way. They've been talking about you in rooms you've never entered, but now heaven is calling your name into the light. Here's what's about to happen. That billionaire isn't just going to bless you financially. They're going to position you strategically, because they don't just want to pay you back, they want to pay you forward. They've realized that someone with your heart deserves more than survival. You deserve influence. You deserve platform. You deserve the kind of resources that amplify goodness instead of greed. But here's the question that's going to determine everything. When the door opens and it will open, will you be ready to walk through it with the same integrity that opened it in the first place? Because chosen one, this isn't just about receiving a blessing. This is about stewarding a responsibility. This is about proving that when God elevates the pure in heart, mountains move, atmospheres shift, and generations get redirected. Your reward isn't coming because you asked for it. It's coming because you didn't. And that's exactly why it's going to be bigger than you ever imagined. Chosen one, let me ask you something that's going to shake you to your core. When was the last time someone looked you in the eyes and saw your soul bleeding? When did someone last recognize that behind your smile, you've been carrying wounds that never fully healed? You've spent years being the healer, the giver, the one who shows up when everyone else walks away. But who shows up for you? Here's what breaks my heart and what should break yours too. You've been pouring from a cracked vessel, thinking your brokenness disqualifies you from blessing others. But listen to this truth. Your scars are not shame. They're signature, proof of who you helped while no one was watching. The billionaire you encountered wasn't just wealthy, they were walking dead. Success had become their coffin. Money had become their morgue. They had everything the world celebrates, but nothing their soul could survive on. And then you appeared. Not with a sermon, not with judgment, but with something they hadn't seen in decades, authenticity wrapped in kindness. Do you understand what happened in that moment? You didn't just offer help, you offered hope. You didn't just extend your hand, you extended your heart. And for someone drowning in a sea of fake smiles and calculated conversations, your genuineness was oxygen. But here's where this gets dangerous. Here's where the enemy tried to convince you that your pain disqualified you from purpose. You've been carrying secret shame, haven't you? Thinking, if they really knew my struggles, if they saw my failures, if they understood my doubts, they wouldn't want my help. Stop right there. Listen to what Jesus said in 2 Corinthians 12-9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Your weakness isn't your disqualification, it's your credentials. Your brokenness isn't your barriere, it's your bridge to reaching broken people. That billionaire recognized something in you that you've been blind to. They saw someone who had been through hell but still chose heaven, someone who had been betrayed but still chose to believe, someone who had been hurt but still chose to heal others. You want to know why your kindness carried such power? Because it came from a place of pain, because it was authentic, because when you helped them, you weren't performing, you were responding from the deepest place in your spirit. Think about the woman at the well in John 4. She had 5 failed marriages, was living with a man who wasn't her husband, came to the well at noon to avoid the judgment of others. But when Jesus met her, he didn't shame her story, he used her story. Her broken past became the bridge to her powerful purpose. That's exactly what happened with you. Your past pain qualified you to recognize present pain in someone else. Your hidden struggles gave you eyes to see their hidden struggles. While others saw success, you saw suffering. While others saw wealth, you saw weariness. While others saw a billionaire, you saw a broken human being. And here's what's about to blow your mind. God strategically positioned your pain to intersect with their pain at the exact moment when both of you needed it most. You think that meeting was random? You think that timing was coincidence? Beloved, Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." That was your season. That was your purpose. That was your divine appointment disguised as a random encounter. But let me tell you what really happened in the spiritual realm that day. When you chose kindness despite your own pain, when you gave from your emptiness, when you loved without expecting return, you didn't just help a person. You demonstrated that God still moves through broken vessels. The enemy had been whispering lies to that billionaire. Nobody cares about you for who you are. Everyone wants something. Real love doesn't exist. God has forgotten you. And then you walked into their life like a living contradiction to every lie hell had been telling them. You became proof that goodness still breathes, that love still lives, that God still cares. You didn't just unknowingly save a billionaire. You unknowingly proved that God still walks this earth through you. Isaiah 61:3 promises that God will give us beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. That's exactly what you carried to them: beauty emerging from your ashes, joy flowing from your mourning, praise rising from your heaviness. And now heaven is about to show you what happens when someone with earthly power recognizes heavenly presence. The compensation coming isn't just financial. It's not just material. It's divine vindication for every tear you cried alone, every prayer you whispered in desperation, every moment you wondered if your suffering had any meaning. Your kindness is about to pay off, not because you calculated it, but because heaven calculated it. Not because you demanded it, but because God ordained it. If you're ready to receive what's been circling back to you, say it out loud right now. I receive it. Type 777 in the comments. Tag someone whose kindness the world forgot but heaven remembered. Share this message. Someone else needs to know their kindness wasn't wasted. Because what's coming next will prove that your worst day was actually setting up your best day. Your deepest pain was digging the foundation for your highest purpose. Are you ready to see how God turns your mess into your message? You showed up in silence. You walked away with nothing. But what if I told you someone followed your footsteps? Chosen one, I need you to lean in right now. Because what I'm about to reveal will shatter every lie you've believed about your invisible acts of love. You've been walking through life thinking your kindness disappeared into the void unnoticed, unrewarded, forgotten. But here's the shocking truth that will change everything. The door they closed is opening quietly. That billionaire, they've been looking for a way to repay something you didn't even know you gave them. Peace. Not money, not status, not applause. Peace. The rarest commodity in a world gone mad with greed and noise. Think about it. When was the last time someone with real power encountered something they couldn't buy? Your authenticity was priceless. Your compassion was currency they'd never held. And now, in the quiet chambers where decisions reshape destinies, your name is being whispered. But here's what's eating at you, isn't it? You're tired of being the giver who never receives. You're exhausted from pouring out while everyone else fills up. You look around and see selfish people thriving while your generous heart gets trampled. The world has trained you to believe that nice people finish last, that kindness is weakness, that your soft heart makes you a target. Stop believing that lie. Listen to what God declares in Galatians 6-9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Did you catch that? At the proper time. Not your time. God's time. And chosen one, that time is now. You planted a seed of light in soil you never saw again. But now, a tree is growing, and the fruit bears your name. Here's what you need to understand about how heaven operates. When you gave without expecting, you triggered something in the spiritual realm that money can't touch. You activated divine reciprocity. Not karma that's worldly thinking. This is kingdom economics, where love multiplies, where kindness compounds, where your forgotten moments become your unforgettable breakthrough. But let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many times have you questioned whether your goodness matters? How many nights have you laid awake wondering if you're just a fool in a world full of sharks? How often have you watched cruel people succeed while you struggle, making you wonder if you should just give up and become like them? The enemy wants you to believe your kindness is stupidity. But God says your kindness is strategy, sacred strategy. While others were building walls, you were building bridges. While they were accumulating enemies, you were accumulating favor. Invisible favor that's about to become undeniably visible. That billionaire you helped, they didn't just experience a moment, they experienced a miracle. In a world where every smile comes with a price tag, yours came free. In a society where every helping hand expects something back, yours asked for nothing. You disrupted their reality so profoundly that they can't stop thinking about what you represent. Here's the part that will shock you. They've been researching you, not investigate honoring, trying to understand how someone could be so pure in such a polluted world. They've discovered that your life is a testimony they want to reward, not just financially, but spiritually. The generous will themselves be blessed, declares Proverbs 22:9. But this isn't just about blessing anymore. This is about vindication. This is about God proving to a watching world that goodness wins, that love conquers, that your way, the narrow way, leads to elevation. You know what's beautiful about this moment? You're not being rewarded because you played the game better. You're being honored because you refused to play the game at all. While others schemed and manipulated, you simply loved. While they calculated every move, you moved from your heart. But here's the urgency you need to feel right now. This door won't stay open forever. Divine opportunities have divine timing. The very people who mocked your softness are about to watch heaven vindicate your strength. The same voices that called you naive are about to go silent as your reward thunders across their assumptions. If something in you already senses what's coming, type, "It's mine," because it is. This isn't about luck. This isn't about timing. This is about harvest. 30, 60, 100-fold return on seeds you planted in tears. The Bible promises it in Mark 4:20, and heaven is about to deliver it. Your kindness wasn't weakness, it was warfare against a system built on selfishness. Your gentleness wasn't surrender, it was strategy that outmaneuvered every manipulator who tried to break you. And now, the very qualities they said disqualified you are about to crown you. The door they slammed in your face, it's opening from the inside, quietly, powerfully, permanently. But tell me this, chosen one. Are you ready to walk through it? Because what's waiting on the other side isn't just compensation. It's transformation. Not just provision, but position. Not just a blessing, but a platform where your kindness becomes your influence and your heart becomes your strength. The waiting is over. The reversal has begun. Listen to me, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you will shake you to your core, but you need to hear this truth that's been hidden from you for far too long. They mocked your kindness, didn't they? Called you weak, soft, naive, left you standing outside their circles while they celebrated their cruelty as strength. You watched them climb ladders built on manipulation while your integrity kept you on solid ground they said would never elevate you. But here's what they didn't know. Here's what you didn't know. Heaven didn't just see your pain, it recorded your restraint. Every time you chose silence over retaliation. Every moment you bit your tongue when revenge would have felt so sweet. Every night you went to bed wounded but refused to wound others in return. God was taking notes, not just of what you endured, but of what you chose not to become. You see, dear one, what looks like weakness to man is often wisdom to God. What appears as defeat in the natural realm is often preparation in the spiritual realm, and what felt like isolation was actually incubation. But let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many times did you question if staying pure was worth it? How many sleepless nights did you spend wondering if goodness was just another word for gullible? How often did you watch the ruthless prosper while your integrity seemed to cost you everything? I know you've been there, standing at your bathroom mirror at 3 a.m., questioning everything you believed about how this world works, wondering if maybe, just maybe, you should have played their games, worn their masks, sold pieces of your soul for temporary success. But chosen one, what if I told you that every tear you cried in secret was an investment in a bank account you couldn't see? What if those moments of restraint weren't evidence of your weakness, but proof of your calling? What if the very thing they mocked you for was the exact quality that marked you for divine promotion? Joseph understood this. After years of betrayal, false accusations, and abandonment, he named his son Ephraim, which means, God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering, not despite his suffering in it, through it, because of it. Here's the earth-shattering truth they don't want you to understand. You didn't just pass a test when you showed kindness to that billionaire. You disrupted a curse. You broke a generational loop that had been spinning in their bloodline for decades. Think about it. Someone with that level of wealth, that degree of power, they didn't get there by trusting people. They built walls. They learned to see every smile as strategy, every kindness as calculation. They lived in a prison of suspicion, surrounded by yes men and gold diggers, slowly dying inside while their bank accounts grew fatter. And then you walked into their life like a wrecking ball of authenticity. No agenda, no angle, no hidden motif, just pure, unfiltered humanity in a world that had forgotten what that looked like. You didn't see dollar signs, you saw a soul. You didn't calculate potential gain, you simply gave what was needed in that moment. Do you realize what you did? You didn't just help someone cross a street or offer a kind word. You performed spiritual surgery on a heart that had flatlined years ago. You breathed life into someone who had given up on believing that genuine people still existed. But here's where it gets even more powerful, chosen one. In breaking their curse, you broke your own. In restoring their faith in humanity, you activated a supernatural law of reciprocation that exists beyond this material realm. You reignited a legacy they had buried alive. This person, this billionaire, they weren't always closed off. There was a time when they believed in goodness, when they trusted freely, when they gave without counting the cost. But life happened. Betrayals mounted. Trust became a luxury they couldn't afford. Until the day you reminded them that kindness without agenda still walks among us. And now? Now they've prepared a table, and your name is engraved on the seat, not because they owe you, not because you manipulated them, but because your authenticity unlocked something in them that money couldn't buy: hope. Hope that goodness still exists. Hope that not everyone has a price. Hope that maybe, just maybe, there are still people worth investing in. But listen carefully, this isn't just about material blessing. This is about vindication. This is about every person who told you that kindness doesn't pay. Every voice that whispered you were too soft for this hard world. Every moment you doubted if integrity was worth the price. The compensation coming your way won't just change your bank account, it will rewrite the narrative that goodness loses and cruelty wins. You're about to become living proof that God's mathematics don't follow Wall Street's formulas, that divine economics operate on principles this world can't comprehend, that when heaven decides to honor someone, earthly opinions become irrelevant. So tell me, chosen one, are you ready to stop apologizing for your purity and start celebrating it as your power? Because what's coming next will require you to stand in rooms where your character, not your connections, will be your currency. Listen to me, chosen one. Right now, this very second, there's a letter being opened in boardrooms you've never seen. A letter that was sealed the moment you showed kindness to a stranger who looked like they had nothing to offer. That letter has your name on it, and the person reading it, they have the power to rewrite your entire story. You think you've been forgotten, but you've been remembered by someone who matters. Let me ask you something that's going to shake you to your core. What if every door that slammed in your face wasn't rejection but divine redirection? What if every person who walked away from your goodness was making room for someone who could actually recognize it? What if the reason you didn't get bitter, didn't harden your heart, didn't become like them wasn't weakness, but positioning? There's a reason you're still soft in a world that rewards hardness. There's a reason you kept giving when everyone else was taking. Because something bigger than your pain was happening, positioning. You see, while you were wondering if anyone noticed your sacrifice, heaven was taking detailed notes. While you were questioning if your kindness mattered, someone with billion-dollar influence was watching every move you made, not to judge you, to identify you. Think about Ruth in the Bible. She was gleaning in the fields, just trying to survive, thinking she was invisible. But while Ruth was gleaning, Boaz was planning. He saw her loyalty to Naomi. He witnessed her work ethic when no one was watching. And while she bent down picking up leftover grain, he was already orchestrating her elevation from poverty to royalty. That's exactly what's been happening to you. You've been gleaning, but someone has been planning. But here's where it gets shocking, and I need you to really hear this. The very people who dismissed your gentleness, who called you naive, who said your kindness was a liability, they're about to watch you receive what their cruelty could never earn. Because there's a divine law at work that most people don't understand. Psalm 23:5 declares it with thunderous authority. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. God doesn't just bless you in private. When it's time for vindication, He sets your table where your doubters can see it, where the people who counted you out have no choice but to count you in, where those who said you'd never amount to anything get front row seats to your divine promotion. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit right now? That's not hope, that's prophecy activating. The billionaire you helped, they've been carrying your memory like a sacred secret. While you moved on, thinking it was just another ordinary day, they couldn't stop replaying that moment. Because in a world full of takers, you gave. In a culture of performers, you were real. In an age of transactions, you offered transformation. And now they're ready to respond. But I need to tell you something that might disturb you. The reason your blessing was delayed wasn't punishment, it was protection. God had to wait until you were mature enough to handle what's coming. Because what's about to hit your life isn't just money. It's influence. It's access. It's authority. And the wrong heart in the right position can destroy generations. You passed the test when you didn't know you were being tested. You remained kind when bitterness would have been justified. You stayed humble when arrogance would have felt good. That's why you're ready now. Here's what's happening behind the scenes that you can't see. Phone calls are being made about you. Conversations are happening in rooms you've never entered. Your name is being whispered in circles where decisions are made. Not because you begged for it, not because you networked your way in, but because your spirit carried something they couldn't manufacture: authenticity. If you've been feeling forgotten, if you've been wondering if anyone sees your struggle, if you've been questioning whether your goodness matters in this cruel world type, I'm at the table in the comments right now. Because, beloved, they're about to call your name. Don't scroll away now. The reveal is coming. You need to understand something that will shift your entire perspective. Every delay you experienced was strategic. Every no you received was redirection. Every person who overlooked you was making space for the one who wouldn't. This wasn't random. This was orchestrated. While you were crying in secret, angels were working in public. While you were praying for breakthrough, someone with the power to provide it was being prepared to meet you. While you were wondering if God heard you, He was positioning people to answer you. The table is set, your enemies are watching, and your name is being called. But here's the part that's going to leave you breathless. This isn't just about you getting blessed. This is about you becoming a blessing, because the same heart that gave without expecting return is about to be entrusted with resources to do it on a scale you never imagined. Your wilderness season is over. Your gleaning days are done. The reversal isn't coming, it's here. And the sound you're about to hear isn't just applause. It's vindication thundering from heaven itself, declaring to everyone who doubted you, this one was always chosen. So tell me, chosen one, are you ready to stop surviving and start reigning? Beloved chosen one, as we come to the end of this divine encounter, I need you to remember 3 eternal truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, your kindness was never weakness, it was your greatest strength. Every act of love you gave without recognition, every moment of grace you extended without reward, every time you chose compassion over cruelty, heaven recorded it all. That billionaire you unknowingly helped, they were just the messenger. God himself has been orchestrating your vindication. Second, the table Psalm 23 promised is being prepared right now. Your enemies, those who mocked your gentleness, dismissed your dreams, and counted you out, they're about to witness something they cannot explain, cannot replicate, and cannot stop. Your promotion isn't coming from human hands. It's descending from divine decree. Third, this isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of your legacy. What God is about to do through you will ripple through generations. Your children's children will benefit from the seeds of kindness you planted in secret. But I want you to know something deeper than any blessing, more precious than any reward. You are not alone. Even in your darkest moments, when the world felt cold and cruel, when your goodness seemed to go unnoticed, God was there. He was collecting every tear, counting every sacrifice, and preparing a response so magnificent it will leave you speechless. And you're not walking this journey by yourself. Right here in this community, thousands of chosen ones just like you are praying, believing, and standing in faith together. We see you. We understand your struggle, and we're here to remind you that your breakthrough is not a matter of if but when. So let me ask you this: will you trust God's timing, even when it doesn't match your timeline? Will you continue to walk in love, knowing that every seed of kindness you plant is an investment in eternity? I want to invite you to share this message with someone who needs to hear it, that friend who's been too kind for their own good, that family member who keeps giving even when it hurts, that coworker whose heart is pure in a world gone dark. Remind them they're not alone. Remind them their goodness matters. Remind them their vindication is coming. Drop a comment below and tell us what this message stirred in your spirit. Share your story. How has your kindness been tested? How are you believing for breakthrough? This community is here to pray with you, to stand with you, to believe with you, because when chosen ones unite in faith, mountains move and miracles manifest. And if this message blessed your soul, if it reminded you of who you are and what you carry, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell, because every week we're going to continue declaring truth over your life, speaking destiny into your situation, and reminding you that your best days aren't behind you, they're ahead of you. But before you go, before you close this sacred moment, I want to pray over you, not as a stranger, but as someone who understands your journey, someone who knows the weight you've carried and the dreams you've protected. Father, right now I place my hand on the shoulder of every chosen one listening to these words. The ones who've cried in secret, who've given until it hurt, who've remained kind in a cruel world, bless them beyond their wildest imagination. Lord, you see the billionaire connection forming. You see the doors getting ready to open. You see the vindication that's been sealed in heaven, waiting for the perfect moment to manifest on earth. Release it now, Father. Let their enemies become their footstools. Let their pain become their platform. Let their test become their testimony. Break every chain of doubt that's bound them. Silence every voice that said they'll never make it. Open supernatural doors that no man can shut. Bring divine connections that will elevate them beyond their understanding. Let favor surround them like a shield. And Father, heal their hearts from the wounds of rejection. Restore their confidence. Renew their strength. Remind them that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, chosen before the foundation of the world, and destined for greatness. Let this be the day their story changes. Let this be the moment their breakthrough begins. And let everyone who witnesses their elevation know that you are still moving, still blessing, still rewarding those who walk in righteousness. In the mighty name of Jesus, I declare, their time is now. Their season has shifted. Their vindication is sealed. Amen and amen. Go in peace, chosen one. Your story is just beginning. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Your presence here matters more than you know. Until we meet again, keep being the light this world desperately needs. Your kindness will pay off, and when it does, it will be bigger than you ever imagined. God bless you abundantly.